Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to this episode of Afia Health and Lifestyle Interview Series, Debunking the Rumor segment. The rumor we're about to debunk today is one of the serious ones. Serious because of the implication and the effect it has on our health and that of the community at large. And that is why we are going to be discussing this with utmost seriousness, and we hope that as you learn, you share and ensure that so many other people around you hear this too. With me to discuss this is a pharmacist, Mr. Ibeji Churchill. I'll be inviting him up very soon. But before I do that, remember, it is important for you and to us that you like, subscribe, and follow our page, and even follow us across all social media platforms. Please remember to turn on the notification, because when you do that, you stay updated concerning what is on our page. All right, so I'll be inviting Mr. Churchill right now. Good day to you, Mr. Churchill. Welcome to Afia Health
Good
and
day,
Lifestyle.
Remy.
All right, going straight to the discussion of today, we want to discuss the relationship between antibiotics and sex. What do I mean by antibiotics and sex? So many people believe that when you have unprotected sex, the best thing to do immediately after is to use antibiotics. And I'm going to be, as a pharmacist, I'm very sure you have come across a lot of people like that come to your pharmacy or something to get something, especially if come to get something from you as regard this. So I'm going to put it this way. When was the first time you heard about this at all?
I mean, Thank you for that question. We've been on this issue even before I got into practice. I mean, right in school, our lecturers would always tell us that, oh, don't be that pharmacist who dispenses antibiotics without prescription. Don't be that pharmacist who dispenses antibiotics after unprotected sex. Then you will see customers that will come and tell you, oh, I just need one capsule of the antibiotic and I'll be fine. You get. So we've been hearing it, and I think it's something that has been going on for a while actually. And um coming out now and being in practice, you see a lot of these cases. So you see someone who will tell you, oh, I want to get Ampiclox and I just want one capsule. Just give me one capsule. And one capsule is fine for me. And if you probe further and just okay, then why are you using this? Okay. You just say, okay, I had sex with someone yesterday. I'm not really sure about the person, and I want to take this for prevention. You get, so it's something I've actually been around for a while. We've been hearing for a while actually.
All right. Um, Looking at the seriousness of this case, also, and the fact that I am also in the medical world myself, I know the effect unrecommended or unprescribed antibiotics can have eventually on the health of the individual and the community at large. Um, is there any relationship between antibiotics and unprotected sex?
Okay, so the truth is, in recent studies, very recent studies, these I'm talking about 2018, 2019. So there's been a study showing that okay, some antibiotics and particularly doxycycline has shown some form of preventive or prophylaxis against some STIs. Now, this study is largely inconclusive, largely inconclusive. So I'm talking about this myth is something that has been around for like years, even before I was born. You get. So, but then there's a recent study showing that okay, doxycycline can be used for STIs to prevent STIs after unprotected sex. But these studies that I'm referring to are still very inconclusive. Like there has not been, if they were concluded, I mean, as a pharmacist, I would recommend an antibiotic to you for after unprotected sex you get. But these studies are still inconclusive. And it's largely because there are still ethical opinions on okay, antimicrobial resistance and stuff like that. You get. So I would say there's a link, but it's not the way we see it. It's not just like that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.
Churchill. To a more serious part, to a more serious part, what are the negative effects of people using antibiotics after unprotected sex?
Okay, thank you for that question as well. The truth is, to a large extent, the way antibiotics work is they work in the presence of an infection. So if there's no infection, why am I taking an antibiotic? There are very few. Okay, let's say the antiretrovirals that maybe a few of them that can take for prophylaxis, and but very few. Most antibiotics are given in the presence of an infection. So you've run a test, there's the presence of an infection, take this antibiotic. You get. So the indiscriminate use of antibiotics now would lead to what we call antimicrobial resistance, and that's a big healthcare problem that we are facing right now. Because what we see in practice is that a lot of individuals, a lot of patients are coming down with resistant strains of antibiotics, resistant strains of bacteria. So what that means is no antibiotic can tackle their issue. They are resistant to all the antibiotics. You get. So nowadays you will see a test result, and probably the only antibiotic a patient is sensitive to is probably an antibiotic that is not even in the country. You get. Means the patient is already resistant to a whole lot of antibiotics. And why did this resistance come in place? It's because of indiscriminate use of antibiotics. Do you want to take Ampiclox? Ampiclox ideally is taken every 6 hours for at least 5 days to eradicate the presence of bacteria. So if I'm taking just one capsule, and for every time I have unprotected sex, I take one capsule, what the bacteria is doing is the bacteria now adapts to Ampiclox. So when it adapts to Ampiclox, adapts to receiving Ampiclox, it can modify, and like there's some morphological changes that can happen, and subsequently it becomes resistant to the effect of Ampiclox. So maybe when you now need Ampiclox, maybe for a case of, let's say, soft tissue infection, and you want to take Ampiclox for about 5 days, you see that it can't work for you. And maybe when you go for a sensitivity test, you see that you're already resistant to Ampiclox. So these are the issues, and this is why we kind of advise people after unprotected sex. There's really nothing you can say in the first few days. Maybe after weeks, you can now be, if the person actually had like an STI, you can now start seeing some manifestations of which we will now advise you to run a test, a sensitivity test, to tell us what antibiotic to give you. You get. So the antibiotic is only prescribed in the presence of an infection, not to prevent it. You get. So after the infection has been established to be present, we can now administer an antibiotic. So that's how it should be
All
actually.
right.
But what we have today is, okay, I just had unprotected sex and I want something to prevent. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that
All
way.
right.
You're just exposing yourself to more and more antimicrobial resistance. And maybe in the later future, when you need that antibiotic, it doesn't work for you.
So generally, what you are saying is it is causing more harm than good.
More harm.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Churchill. So to round up, because we're taking a lot of time already, what advice do you have for the young people out there, especially when it comes to sex related, to avoid all of this in total?
Okay, thank you for that. What I would say is, to the young ones out there, if you must have sex, let it be safe. There's no healthcare professional today who doesn't preach safe sex if sex must happen. Safe sex is very important. There are condoms there. Condoms nowadays have been subsidized. You can get a condom for as low as 100 naira. I mean, condoms are not 100%, but then it gives you some level of coverage. Maintain one partner, because in practice, what I see in community practice is you see someone come, you see a patient come and confide in you, and when you probe further, you find out that, oh, this person has multiple sexual partners, and that's why the person has so much concern as to okay, STIs and all. So multiple sexual partners. If you are going to have multiple sexual partners, you can as well just practice safe sex. You get. So there's no antibiotic that is going to prevent an STI from developing. So just take that out of your mind. If you must have sex, let it be safe. There are condoms out there. You get. So you be faithful to your partner. If you must have multiple sexual partners, I mean, use a condom. You get. So when if we can implement such things in our lives as individuals, I mean, the incidence of having to request for one capsule at one pick clock, one capsule, one sachet of augmentin, I mean, I think we'll eradicate it, and it will save us a lot of stress in the nearest future.
All right. Thank you very much. That has been very, very insightful. We have really gone into details about how damaging this can be for us, especially in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Churchill. We look forward to having you on our show
Thank you,
soon.
Remy. Thanks for having me.
So, our dear viewers, you've heard it directly from the pharmacist himself. Using antibiotics after sex is doing more harm than good, because when you actually have something that needs these antibiotics for cure, you are going to be resistant to it. And that is why it is only when it is needed that it is prescribed. Do not use antibiotics without the doctor's prescription. When it comes to unprotected sex, abstain from unprotected sex. I'm not asking you to abstain from sex. If you cannot do that, use condoms. There are males and female condoms, among so many other things that we can do to ensure that we have healthy sex life. Maintain one partner as much as possible. Putting all of this together, if you can do that, you would have little or no need for trying antibiotics after sex. Thank you for joining us on Afia Health and Lifestyle interview series, this particular episode, and we look forward to having you on our show next time. Thank you.